Episode 301 of the Calcio Guys with guest number one, all-time leader in guest appearance here on the Calcio Guys was seventh appearance over the span of 6 years. Raffa Rispo from the Napoli Rant. Raffa, how's it going, my man?
Guys, it's great. I'm honored to know that I am the all-time leading Caps appearance holder.
Yeah.
And I beat out some names for that too. That's good.
Yeah.
And I actually can't believe it's 7 times
Us
in the
either.
past 6 years.
You're not cap tied to the Calcio Guys, right?
Dating back to June 2020. So it's a long time, 6 years. We've all grown since. You still have the same luscious hair, luscious beard though. So
yeah,
everything's good.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I appreciate it. You guys look amazing too, and you guys do a fantastic job. And congratulations on 300. That's a milestone. That's a great milestone.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, man. Pretty soon you guys will be more podcast episodes than I've done. I think all together with Sempre Far from Vesuvius and the Rant, I think I'm up to like 340 or 350, but a lot of pauses in between, but it's all good, man.
Yeah,
you guys are killing it, and I'm happy for you guys.
Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, sir. And you could follow us on all your favorite podcasting platforms, social media at the Calcio Guys. So no Johnny tonight. It is just me and Adriano. And one of the reasons we wanted to bring Raffa on this week, you had the pleasure of going to LA, attending the premiere of the movie about Napoli's fourth Scudetto, and you got to talk to some pretty important people, Raffa. Aurelio De Laurentiis right here. Like when I saw this, Raffa, I was so happy for you. All the hard work you've put in as a podcaster, as a content creator, to be able to go and interview the president. One thing I got to say watching this, man, you're so professional. You probably had to hold it in so much, the big fan that you are. Tell us about that experience, how this came to be, and what it was like to interview the president of your favorite team.
Well, so how it came to be was, I don't know. I don't remember if you guys all saw the video of the interview from SerieA North America in conjunction with NIAF.
Your clip there. Yeah, we saw it.
Yeah, so that was actually Napoli actually decided to collaborate with that as well. So like I was on all 3, profiles and all that stuff, and nice. It was actually that was released the day after my birthday. Which was March 17th. So it was released on the 18th. The 18th, I was so busy at the shop here that I didn't have time. I didn't even know that the interview was out. Like I got a text from Marco Messina that I didn't read until like 9:00 at night saying, "Hey, check your Instagram. You're blowing up." And I'm like, well, for what? And there was,
Yeah.
And from that video, in the midst of like looking at all the messages and from you guys and from everybody else, just like, saying, wow, this is great. Congrats, this and that. I stumbled upon a message from my buddy Quentin, who is involved with Calcio Napoli Club USA with myself and Biz, and the Rant too. He's got a lot of, he does a lot of behind the scenes help with the Rant as well. Saying, and he sent me a text, and he called me and he goes, "Hey man, are you coming?" And I'm like, "Coming to what?" He goes, "The 6th. Are you coming to the 6th?" And I'm like, "What are you talking about, buddy?" And he goes, "LA, Napoli, ADL going to be in LA." And he told me about what was going on, the premiere and all that stuff. And I said, "No, I didn't even hear about this. I had no idea."
Yeah.
And not long after this phone call, where I was like, "Oh man, that would be so cool to go to." I get a message from Matthew Ferrugia from LA Napoli Club, who said, "Hey man, we're having this event. I don't know if you heard. I want to, it's a VIP. It's like an exclusive VIP thing. So you have to like RSVP to it, and you got to tell me now if you're coming." And I'm like, whoa, hold on a second. One wishes he could just swipe the card and fly out to LA, but
of course.
So the next day, I get a message from a contact that I have at the SerieA North America office. His name is Davide. He's actually stationed in Italy, but he does like like he runs the social media. He runs like the kind of event planning, sort of. He's kind of the bridge between the office in Manhattan and the office in Italy. So he's like the middleman, right?
Sure.
So he messages me and goes, "Hey, are you going to this event?" And I said, "I mean, it's the most talked about event in the last 24 hours. So maybe I should try to get my ass over there, right?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, let's go. Let's do some content, you know." And I said, "Let's go. You know, we've done stuff before with him, you know, last year for the Scudetto and in March against Inter." And then I said to him, you know, and it's just a shot in the dark, right? I was like, "Yeah, shot in the dark. What if I tried to get credentials for press from Napoli?" And he said, "I can absolutely help you with that." And I figured, you know, strike while the iron's hot. They know who I am now. They just collabed with me, this and that. Let's see what I can get. If I can't get it, at least I'll be there for SerieA, you know. So I made the arrangements, and the Thursday before Easter, so the day before Good Friday, I get the email from Napoli saying, "Hey, just fill this out and you'll be credentialed to like come and you know, represent Napoli in English for press." Which I already was like, "Oh my gosh, bucket list moment," right?
Of course.
So I fill out the form, and you know, it's Thursday, and then Good Friday's the next day. Didn't hear anything back. I messaged them with the form back saying, "Hey, here it is." You know, and obviously there's a +1, so Quentin is coming with me. And I said, "Me and my guy are coming. Is there anything you guys need in particular? I'm just kind of gonna do my thing." Yeah, North America, who also said, "Hey, just go do your thing." You know, like no instructions from us, just go do something. We trust you. And I was like, "That's great." But I'm dealing with Napoli, so I'm like, okay, well, maybe there's something they want, they don't want, I don't know. Nothing back Friday, nothing back Saturday. I didn't think I was going to hear anything back from them at all. Sunday was Easter. So Monday morning, I'm just like trying. Like, what do you guys want? And like, next thing you know, we're at the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood. No direction, no preparation, I had no prep. The most prep I did for this interview was driving down to JFK Airport, envisioning myself next to ADL with a microphone, and these questions arose in my head. And as soon as I got on the plane, one of my phones broke. The main phone, my connection to Davide, to Napoli, to everybody, broke. The screen is done. Luckily I had a second phone, but I still didn't have any of that connection. So now I'm like in the plane, I forgot everything I had said to myself. I forgot everything I planned on down on the way to JFK. So what you saw me ask ADL was off the top of my head, because I'm telling you what. Then there was also issues getting in as press because no one had any idea of what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like I go to them, "Hey, you know, Raffa, Quentin, SerieA, Napoli, we're press credentialed," and like they were like, "Yeah, well, we're not letting anybody else in right now." And I'm like, no, you don't understand. I'm press. And they're like, yeah, no, we're not letting you in. And I'm like, okay.
Wow.
So I get in, and I'm just trying to find someone and say, "Yo, is someone from the club here? Like, what's going on?" It was disheveled, but at the same time, everyone was just real chill. Like, "Yeah, man, just come in, whatever." You know what I mean? And so, like, I was like, all right. So, dude, the 30 seconds before I shook ADL's hand to meet him before we start taping, I'm looking at Quentin, who also Dan Bowen and Phil from Philly and a couple other guys, Marco Messina, was standing right behind the camera. And I turn around and I'm like, "Holy shit, guys, what am I going to ask this guy?" And Marco looks at me and goes, "You don't know what you're going to ask him?" I said, "No, I have no idea what I'm doing here."
Oh my gosh.
I had a general idea, but like, I don't know. I just didn't it didn't register. So I'm like, "Oh shit, I'm freaking out. And then it all just came together. Like, you know, breathe, do it. And that's how I do things, man. Like, that's how I got by school. That's how I do things. Under pressure, when it's not written on a notes, when it's not when it's not like manuscripted for me, is when I am fire. And like, I don't know, I just did it. It's the first thing popped in my head. Hollywood, Napoli, blah blah blah, and that's where the question came from. And after that, me asking him about he mentioned Conte, so I had a Conte question. But like, after the fact, you think of all these other things you want to talk about, but then they're wrapping you up on the other side because they're like, he's got to make his rounds, and I'm like, all right,
Of course.
But yeah, I thought it was really, a surreal moment. 21 years ago in 2005, I met this guy on the pitch at the Sao Paulo. It was a quick handshake, and he had a phone call for some sort of movie. And that was the extent of me meeting him. And that was a family friend, like a family event. My cousin worked for the groundskeepers that kept the grounds at the Sao Paulo Maradona. And so she got us in, and we were just kind of met all the team in 2005. So the SerieA team,
Wow.
Eduardo de Laurentiis, his son, the coaches, all that stuff, the players. But their ADL, I never really got that chat with him. And then I was in the room with him again in 2019 when they came to Michigan, and I was there as press through Relevant, the company that runs the tour to North America.
Yep.
I was in the same room as him, and I got to ask questions to Ancelotti and to Insigne, and that was great. But there was never that one-on-one. I think the most extent of me getting to talk to him was I shouted at him, my president, when he was getting in the car in Miami.
Yeah.
To drive to the stadium for the game against Barcelona. There was that other game that they played 2 games. But this was this was something where I could smell his breath, and I'll never forget how ADL smells.
Okay.
To be able to say that dude smelled like my nonno when I was a teenager, and I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
I'll never forget that. And he was just, ADL was just so great, man. So great to all the fans that were there. He talked to everyone. There were so many fans there, and I was like, there's no way he's going to get to everyone. This dude stood there, and people were lined up just to go say hi, take pictures, talk. He let them tell his story. I got to tell him mine later on after the movie. What an amazing experience, man. And it all came together in a week. So it's so weird. So weird.
Yeah, Rafa, listen, your storytelling is always so great. We've had you on now 7 times, right, including tonight, and every time you bust out a story, we know it's gonna be every single detail to the breadth of ADL, right, to the breadth of ADL, nothing more, nothing less we expect from you, Rafa. So listen, just hearing the story, we see a snapshot on social media, so obviously we're hyped, but just to get the maybe the behind the scenes details of the experience, because nobody would know that, right? Nobody would know
Right.
the last minute, are you coming? You have to be
Sure.
there. The press, the flight over. Listen, you're not a hop, skip, and a jump away, but you're not far either, right? Being from where you are, so just honestly, great experience on Easter, right after Easter weekend too, is just a crazy thing, because us Italians, Easter weekend is another big holiday, so it seemed to be amazing. How was, just bouncing off to all that and the interview, and we know we saw you speak to obviously Marco Messina on the blue carpet as well. How was the film? How was it perceived? What was the buzz? And also another, maybe a second part of that question, how did it become, do you know how it came to be that it got premiered when it did, and how that kind of all took place?
I honestly don't have all the information on how it became a thing. I mean, I think I want to say through the LA Napoli club, which is run by Matthew Farrugia, who is
Okay.
such a gem of a human being. He is
Awesome.
the nicest dude ever. And he has a contact there who's got a contact with ADL. It's Hollywood.
Yeah.
ADL's in the Hollywood, scene, right?
Business, yeah.
Yeah, and I want to say they well, first of all, ADL I think finally is realizing that, you know, he needs to pay a little more attention in America here. And I had a conversation with Matthew after all of this went down, the movie, the panel that they had afterwards, then, you know, a few more words with ADL right after. It's sort of like private, like, you know, off the record stuff.
Yeah.
And Matthew gave me a good indication that ADL is working towards like recognizing the fact that there's 7-something million Napoli fans in America, and, you know, they can't be ignored. You know, like a lot of times you see the club, like members of you know, Juventus or older players of Juve, Milan, Inter coming over here and like recognizing club you know, events, going to club events, because those club events are sponsored by the clubs, actually sponsored by the clubs themselves. You know, and they have a connection with Juve, Milan, Inter, so on and so forth, Roma. But Napoli, they don't have that. So I think this is the beginning of the realization of, you know what, we need to make this a regular thing. And I think just his connection in the film industry and Hollywood, that kind of like helped it come together. And I also believe that him being a member of NIAF, like the National Italian American Foundation, the right people, because there's also a couple of like council people in LA, councilmen, you know, and women that are Italian Americans that are in NIAF as well. So I think it all kind of came together. Like they made a call to the LA mayor, Karen Bass, who decided, you know what, let's recognize this. Let's recognize him for his work in film and for his, you know, his soccer. Plus the World Cup is coming, so they wanted a lot of press. It was covered by Vanity magazine. It was covered by Forbes, I want to say, and like a couple other like online news sources. But like,
Wow.
like, yeah, it became a thing where like they decided to, you know, recognizing his name and who his uncle was. His uncle was Luigi. No, Luigi's his son. Dino De Laurentiis.
Dino De Laurentiis.
Yeah, right. Who's a big film guy, like bigger than him even.
Yeah.
But, you know, I want to say that that's what it was. It was just a culmination of a bunch of things. The movie was released in Italy already.
Yeah.
And I believe it's on Netflix in Italy. And I didn't get a confirmation, but I want to say it's going to come to Netflix in North America after this premiere. You know, why have a premiere in LA and then just not make it available? You know what I mean?
Of course. Yeah.
It was quite the private screening. The movie was very, you know, it was really just a documentary of the Campionato from last season, the winning the Scudetto, you know. And ADL being the film guy he always is filming. He's always got someone filming, even when people don't want them to or don't like it. But, you know, he's got his charm. He's a charmer, man. The guy is a charmer. You can just tell the way he talks to people and looks at them. He charms. He reminds me of my freaking dad, guys. Like he knows how to talk. He knows how to talk to people. He knows how to talk to people. He knows what to. He's quick in the answers, and it might not be translated well. Like it might be one of those lost in translation type things where sometimes you don't really, he says things like re-win when he means win again, you know, he doesn't know how to like articulate very well, but he gets the point across and people understand him and he makes them understand him. So it's like, awesome.
Yeah. And his English, to be fair, was, you know, it was pretty good.
Not bad, right?
For what it is. Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah.
So let's move towards the pitch, Raffa. I don't know if you had the chance to. I don't know if you were back home Monday.
No. So the premiere of the game. So here's another thing that freaked me out. The premiere of the movie was after the game. So
okay. So
yes, you got home probably yesterday.
The whole time for weeks, I'm going back and forth with Quentin. Like, what if we lose this game and then have to go to this premiere? Like, what if, you know?
Yeah.
And I said the worst possible thing to do would be to lose. And not just for us in the Campionato in the standings, but for this event, like So anyway, the game in LA, the match is not at 2:45, it's at 11:45 a.m.
Oh, true. Time change. Yeah.
Right,
The time
right.
difference. Sorry.
And then so the movie started around the event started, we had to be there by 4, and the event started around like 5:30. But yeah, so we had the match first and then the event. I was there from I traveled all day Easter Sunday. We were there all day Monday, and then Tuesday morning I flew back home. So I got to watch the match at a new place called Silver Lake United on Hyperion Boulevard in Los Angeles, and that's where the LA Napoli Club is going to be meeting from now on.
Nice.
And he also, this guy at this bar, this pub, he's like a football nut. Like so Quentin was coming from Iceland because he was working. So he flew to New York, met me there. We flew to LA. So
Jesus.
at the club, at the match meet, everyone was like, well, who flew the farthest? Who flew? And Phil was like, I think it's me, but then there's Rafa that's up in New York. And then I was like, nah, guys, Quentin just came from Iceland. And everyone was
Jesus
like, what?
Christ. Yo.
So where was I going with that? The point I'm trying to make is we all got together. Oh no, so the owner of the pub took that as Quentin's Icelandic from there, lives there, whatever. And he was like, oh man, are we ready? He goes, you're from Iceland? And Quentin's like, no, I'm from Virginia, but I live in Atlanta and I work. And he goes, oh, I was ready to start talking Icelandic football with you. And I was like, what? He is that crazy. He starts throwing off team names and like I thought I was a nut. He's nuts. So it's going to be a good successful spot because he's legitimately a Calcio soccer football bar. That's his thing. There's a big soccer ball outside on the facade. And he opened up for us. It was closed on Mondays, but he, because of this event, he's like, you know what, I'm going to open, which was really sweet. Had a few workers come in, super dope. And that's where we watched the game over there.
All that to say, give me your thoughts on the game. 1-0 win, goal from Politano, nice setup play from Alisson and Mateus Oliveira on the goal. Maybe some bad defense from Milan.
Maybe, I think definitely.
So, give us your take on the game, and then obviously an important win, right? Big 3 points in the battle. Now it's Napoli that's not right behind Inter, but it's no more talking about Milan fighting for the second place in the Scudetto race. Now it's Napoli's turn.
Yeah, and I fully agree with that. I think Milan have reached their limit. I think third is going to be where they end up. I do feel bad for Milan because they really had a great start to the year. They really had a good go at it, I don't know what happened. The disappearance of Leao and Pulisic in 2026 is mind blowing to me. But I didn't really have too much of a doubt that Napoli were going to come away with this one, just because that when we play the big teams, we're unstoppable. And I don't think we've lost at the Maradona since December 2024 in Serie A. I think we only have one loss to Chelsea in the Champions League since. So to me, it was kind of inevitable. As far as the goal goes, brilliant no look pass by Alisson Santos, who I'm telling you, the last podcast I recorded was with my kids. We recorded an episode of The Rant with the children, my Rocco and Paulie. And Paulie did a little it was fun. And Paulie did a little piece on Alisson Santos because we had just signed him. And he's like talking this guy up. Meanwhile, Rocco's like, we'll see, Paul. We'll see, and because, he wasn't a huge name. Yeah. He did a few things with Sporting. It wasn't a lot. It was, I think the biggest claim to fame for him at Sporting was he scored the goal to get through, to beat Real Madrid and get that goal they needed to qualify for the knockouts. And then right away he's gone to Napoli. So it was one of those things where like what are we getting here? Like what are we getting here? Like Paulie played with him on FIFA or on EA 26, and we don't know what his real output's going to be. But from the minute he stepped on that pitch, he is like locked in. So I gotta say, man, class player, lots of skill. Oliveira is Oliveira. He's gonna come through a lot. But what was that header by
the Winter?
The Winter. Oh my goodness! Like, where are you putting that ball? That's like 101. You know, like like at least try to head it. Like heading it behind you, not knowing what's happening across the face of goal instead of outward towards the further towards the box. I'm telling you, if De Winter had headed it outward, if he could have, it would have ended in 0-0. So,
at least it's not the worst defensive mistake by a Milan-based defender in the past week.
Yeah. What? Well,
we've heard that.
What's happening?
Yeah, but no, listen. I think it's interesting because I think obviously the stakes of the game, Rafa, you would probably agree, were obviously very high. Obviously, that was 2-3. It could have seesawed either way. The thing I would say is that, because I think even Milan too, right? Like, despite the struggles, maybe, as of late, or, the 2026 output of, like you mentioned, Pulisic and Leao has been on and off. Against the big teams too, Milan their kryptonite has been the smaller teams, right? The lower level teams in Serie A. That's where they've dropped, the most points. And, going into this game, I think both sides were pretty confident, not only for maybe a win, but just some sort of a result. And as the game went on, I think, and that's not me trying to be sour, trying to be bitter or whatever, the game was what it was. But, I think after seeing how the game was, progressing, I think a draw would have been the fair result. I think, it's one mistake. And I honestly, I think it was really a nothing game until that point, if I'm honest.
It wasn't. Yeah, you're right. It wasn't. I didn't miss much in the first half.
Yeah, that's what I was going to get to.
I was having trouble with my microphone. I was trying to prep for later, for the event.
Of course, yeah.
And I was having trouble with my microphone. So most of the first half, because I was also going to try to get some interviews at halftime and interview the owner of the bar, which I got to. But to do that, nice. I needed my mic. So my mic was giving me problems with my phone. And I spent most of the first half fixing this microphone, not really paying too much attention to it. But then when I got home last night and I watched it again, I realized I didn't miss anything. I missed nothing in the first half at all. So most of the second half was similar. I mean, there were a few closer calls with Napoli, a couple more chances. Milan had a few chances, but nothing too dangerous, nothing too crazy, right?
Yeah,
there might have been one Spinazzola shot that like came this close.
The shot, on his right foot there.
It wasn't much of a game, and then Politano, who's done almost nothing all season as well, now has 2 goals in 3 matches. So
he could have scored that last week. Maybe we'd be singing a different tune, Raf? With the Azzurri, right? No, but
right. Yeah.
Joking aside, he always seems to score against Milan. It seems to be, I think it's his either 5th, 6th, 7th, something like that goal against Milan, in recent times. So I guess if it had to be anybody, it was going to be him. But again, this game came down to one mistake, one chance, and he happened to be right place, right time. Again, the defending from the Winter, I think, like you said, Rafa, put that anywhere else, we're probably singing a different tune tonight.
100%.
Bartesaghi gets unfortunately caught, a bit ball watching, doesn't really know what's behind him either, which again is it sucks to see because he's a young Italian talent, and I really liked his progression this season. So that was unfortunate, but again, that's what it took. Like you said, the first half was nothing. There was a few chances. I think if Pavlovic gets on his chance and off the corner, the header that he had, that can potentially go in. We saw just before the international break, he has a crazy goal in his locker, right, scoring from far range there. So I think Nkunku could have been better on his small opportunity that he had in the first half. So it became one of these types of games that was really like, who was going to make that first mistake, who was going to blink first, and unfortunately, for Milan fans and myself, it was on Milan's behalf. And Napoli jumps into second. Again, I think that fight will go until the end. I don't think it's locked up. It's only a 2 point gap, and again, anything can happen from now to the end of the season. It's 7 finals, Rafa. It's 7 finals from now until the final match day. Going to go on match day 32 after this week. So, listen, at the end of the day, and again, we'll probably bleed this into the question now, but I think we hadn't spoken in a while, so I don't know what your thoughts were a couple of weeks ago when the gap was a bit bigger and a bit larger from Inter, not only from my perspective for Milan, but your perspective for Napoli. Because a lot of people were saying, the Scudetto was pretty much wrapped up, right? Like it was Inter's, when it was 10 to 13 points clear that they were at, whatever it was. Now that it's closer, and now that you're in that seat of 6 points behind where Milan was a week ago, is there a glimmer of hope? Because if I speak to my uncle Franco, who's a Napoli fan, he's like Napoli's winning the Scudetto. So I want to hear what you have to say, Rafa. Is there that glimmer of hope on your end, or is it really just Inter's to lose with this last 7 games left in the Campionato?
Well, regardless, it's Inter's to lose. But
Agreed.
I definitely would have liked for Roma to have gotten something out of the Inter game.
Yeah, of course.
But however, I'm gonna stay optimistic because that's just what I do, right? At this point, It's like a gimmick at this point, right? Optimistic Rafa,
Of course.
But I don't know, man. Like it is, it's gonna be tough. We're definitely gonna be in it. But to think about Napoli finishing the season. Because right now we're 5 games straight with a win in Serie A, right?
True.
To finish with 12 is asking a lot. Especially since we have to play Como. I think that's really the only tough team, but all the games are tough, right? Like we say, so we play Parma next. Who knows what Parma's going to get from us? You know what I mean?
Of course.
And Inter play Como next, so who knows what's going to happen there? So I wouldn't say anything is locked for sure, but I do think it's Inter's to lose. But to answer your question about a couple of weeks ago, Napoli were 14 points behind Inter 4 match days ago. And I started to see like kind of the writing on the wall with Inter slipping up a little bit and Napoli's players coming back.
Yeah.
The moment we gained points on Inter to go to negative 11, I started posting on the story every time we gain points on Inter, or every week from there. I would go negative 11, negative 9, negative 8, negative 7. You know what I mean? Like that would be my story. And people would flood my inbox saying, "You're crazy. It's over. It's over." But no, I would hashtag io credo ancora, right? Like I still believe.
Of course.
I can't say that I saw it coming, but at the same time, I kind of did. Like the writing was on the wall when it came to Napoli getting all their players back. Conte 1 match a week, grinding it out. The fact that Conte has never finished lower than 2nd place in Serie A, it just is like
good point.
Everything coming together at the same time, like at the end, right? Lautaro Martinez coming back though is
big for them.
Humongous because they were sorely missing him. And the first game he comes back, they drop 5 on Roma, the best defense in Serie A. And all of a sudden, Barella wants to play. All of a sudden, Çalhanoğlu's back scoring. It just looked like they were back. They looked like they were back. But at the same time, it's going to come to the players from Inter versus the full squad of Napoli. Because if you're going to ask me who's going to outmanage, it's Conte. Conte is going to outmanage Kivu 10 times out of 10 until Kivu gets more experience. If it comes to that, if it comes to a couple of guys, because De Laurentiis said, in the rest of the interview too, he said, we have more players coming back, so anything is possible. We had players come back, but now we still have 4 guys out, but they'll be back soon. David Neres will be back soon. Vergara's going to come back before the end of the season. You got
Hoyland was out
still coming back. Hoyland was out. We beat Milan without Hoyland. He's going to play.
Lukaku as well.
Lukaku, who knows what's going on? And that was one question I bit my tongue for.
Of course.
Thank God they wrapped me up because I was like, "How's Lukaku doing?"
Insider trading, insider scoop. That's it.
But no, so you never know, man. It's hard to say because in the past, like this big of a lead is a lock, right? But I don't know, man. I don't know. I never say never. Never say never. I will say if Inter beat Como, it's going to be very, very, very difficult. But we'll see.
And in terms of the overall season, so obviously they won the Supercoppa, but out in the Champions League in the knockout phase, quarterfinals for Coppa Italia. I know there's been the injuries. I know it's been tough. I know you're coming off of the Scudetto season, so you can't complain too much. But I know you want to remain optimistic as well, but does part of you kind of look at this and say this is maybe a disappointing season in a way, maybe not necessarily a failed season, but part of it is disappointing to not get that Coppa Italia or go further in the Champions League?
Maybe personally, I would have liked to have gone out of the league phase of the Champions League, right? Coppa Italia, I mean, we should be winning that thing every year. I don't know how like Napoli, Milan, Inter don't win that thing every single year,
Yeah.
But I gotta say, man, like disappointing maybe, but not a failure like you said, and also not as disappointing as I guys. We're coming when we won the Scudetto in 23. The next season was a utter disgrace of a shit show.
Yeah.
So when you want to compare the two defenses of the title, right? Like we might not defend the title this season, meaning win it again, right?
Of course, yeah.
But we put a freaking much better fight together, man. And I'm telling you right now, if you give us half of those, knock half those injuries off the list, there's a much different story. If we had Lukaku back earlier, and if we had not that huge Neres injury, I don't think that we're like in second, man. I think we're fighting with Inter. I'm not saying we're in first and going to win, but we're definitely fighting. We're definitely like closer. But we're fighting now too. So like the attitude, that's the thing is that the attitude in the fan base. And when I say fan base, I mean like the curva, the people in Naples. There's going to be some online people who are like, out in the quarterfinal, the Coppa, out in the league phase. Yeah, what do we do? Blah blah blah. And there were a few comments on the post of the interview saying things like, responding to people saying, grande presidente, or that's my guy, da da da. Saying, yeah, that's your guy, but he failed to this and that. And I'm like, failed to what, man? We won 2 Scudetti in 3 seasons. And we may be keeping like by now Conte is out of favor with the teams and packing his bags in other teams, and he's actually thinking it's like, okay, either I'm going to stay here, I'm going to take the national team with ADL's blessing. So it's like, there's a much different thing going on here than it ever did with Conte. So everybody is like most Napoli fans, I think, will look at this and be like, you know what? It was pretty successful. It was fun. We were never completely out of it. Even when we thought we were never completely out of it. So win the Scudetto this year would be the bonus, obviously. But if we don't, we're back in the Champions League. Conte is either going to stay, or we may get someone, younger with fresher ideas, with all these fresh players. Like think about it, right? Next season could look like, it could look like Santos or Neres, Vergara or Politano with Hoyland in the front. That's promising. It's promising. And De Bruyne is going to stay, and McTominay's still there, and Anguissa, and it's a beautiful team. I think what we need to do is figure out our like physio staff and see what's going on. And I also think that the training facility thing has to happen. That was another question I wanted to get to him about, but I didn't have that much time. Hopefully Marco Messina got to ask him those things, and when that comes out, we can see. But I don't know, man. I'm happy. Put it that way. I'm happy with how the season has gone, and a couple hundred fans in LA that showed up on Monday seem to be pretty happy too. I mean, there was vibes were up, positivity. You can't ask for more than that.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't think it could have gone worse, right? From your title defense in 24, right? Like you mentioned, Raf. So I think anything above what that was, it would be a bonus. Obviously, different circumstances. Obviously, different caliber coach. Obviously, some additions, well, actually quite a few additions in players too, from that time. So I think anything up was going to be a plus in my outsider perspective, right? So
Well, no, 100%. 100%. And what's cool though is I think a majority of the Napoli fans recognize that too. Where in the past
you have to.
In the past it would be different. Well, that was also before we won Scudetti. So if we never won these Scudetti, okay, we're finishing second again. Come on, man. Like, we got to figure something out. But now it's like, hey, man, notwithstanding all the injuries, to finish in second, at least, I would even have been happy with the third behind Milan, to be honest with you, because it's so close. It's a fight.
It's very close.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
As long as we didn't pull away too far, to stay there and to make it to, the third isn't too shabby either, man.
Yeah, no.
So
I totally
I'm
agree.
happy. I'm fine. Yeah.
Yeah, and another, I had a couple more questions that I know I wanted to get out. I don't know what Nick has as well. If you have anything
maybe
else.
One. I think I have one, and you probably will ask it, but we'll see.
Okay. Well, because no, I have a couple. I don't know which one I want to get to first, but I'll maybe leave. Is it about Conte, Nick?
Yeah.
Of course. Okay, so we'll leave the Conte, because we both had that in mind. We'll leave the Conte one to the end, especially later on, especially with him circulating in the news, and we all know what we're hinting at, right? So one thing I wanted to kind of mention, and again, I hate to kind of bring last week's just disappointment up again. And listen, Rafa,
this is how you spent your 300th anniversary, your 300th.
It's unfortunate, Raf. It was for us. It was either going to be doom or gloom. Unfortunately,
well, it was both.
Both, exactly. All right. So sorry, it was going to be a high or a low.
300, and then the third straight miss. What a mess, man.
Yeah. One thing I kind of wanted to hint at, because it was only, I don't know if I want to say only, but as an outsider looking at it, it seemed to be the only reason why we got to see a guy like Antonio Vergara play, is because of these injuries and because of the lack of options that Conte had. And being I don't want, well, he's 23, I believe. Like, he's still young, right?
He's young. Yeah.
Right. He's not Camarda young or Pio Esposito young, but he's still in that young bracket, right? 23 years old.
Right.
Finally getting a crack on the first team, quality minutes in that span of time. Obviously, a bit of an injury now, but just what has been your take on him as a player, him emerging, him being from the area, right? I don't want to put the comparisons of Insigne-esque, because they're two different players and two different stories, but just with our lack of, we always like to say, the youths, right? With Italian with Italian football, right? And all that negativity that we kind of spoke about last week, but just your take on Vergara as a player, his role in this team of this year, and hopefully his role, for the future for Napoli and for potentially the national team, because I think it's a shame that we don't. And again, I don't want to bring last week's conversation up again, but it's just a shame how we've come with these youth players and these youth talents that aren't getting the quality minutes, aren't getting the look. It took, if you speak to most people, it took half the Napoli's lineup for him to even get a crack on the pitch. Just your take on all of that, and just him as a player, and maybe his future with Napoli and potentially the Azzurri.
Well, what comes to mind for me with Vergara is if you're not going to be given your break. You need to take it. So like when these injuries happened, he said, I'm not missing, right? And he didn't miss. He didn't miss. He's he has a little to work on, but that I can also chalk that down to like inexperience and coming on unexpectedly, right?
Of course.
I will say this: Conte did see something in him. Otherwise, why would you get rid of him? Or why wouldn't you get rid of him? He was looking for a move away to play, like a permanent move away. I don't remember what team, but he was looking to move away, and Conte denied it. Denied the move. Said, "I don't want him to go anywhere. I want him on this team." So obviously there's something there, but like. It is kind of a shame that these kids don't get a chance because it's debilitating to football, to Calcio, but that's not the only issue. It's one of the big issues, but it's not the only one. It comes from within. It comes from the structure. So yeah, I mean, when you look at not six Italians on Inter, 9 Italians on Milan and Napoli. 1 Italian in Udinese, 2 Italians in Como. Lecce doesn't have any Italians either. It's like, but then Lecce and these teams win, Primavera, tournaments and stuff like that. So, but they're not doing it with Italians, so it's even less. But I will say that a handful of good Italians left Italy to go play elsewhere. And they're doing pretty good too, like Coyote, like Odogi, and like a couple other younger. There's another younger Italian. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but he's abroad.
The Dortmund too, right? The Ignacio Reggiani, right?
The kid in Dortmund. Yes, that's I think who I was thinking of. Yeah. At least they're getting playing time somewhere and somewhere good. Mm-hmm. But yeah, we have to figure that out. But here's the thing: is it's not on the club. It's not on the club to say, "Hey, we need to pay attention to the Italian national team." The club is out to make money for the club, and I've realized this, and I've changed my stance on it in the past few years in business owning. Like, you have to do what's right for you, and I've had this issue with like hiring friends of mine or hiring acquaintances that, they're doing favors for acquaintances, friends, family, whatever, and it not working out and having the tough responsibility to say, hey man, you're out. It's not working. I just had to do it 2 weeks ago to a guy I really, really like, man, but it's just, he's not working out. Got to pull the plug. And that's on, like, I could spend more time on like building him up, but I just don't have the resources and the time to do it. So you got to pull the plug. And I feel it's the same way with owning a club, a football club, a Calcio, a soccer team, a sports team. You have got to do what's best for your team and right now, Italians, young Italians, that's not the answer. And as much as that sucks to say, it's the truth. The problem is that, some of these clubs will go ahead and loan these players out to Serie B. Like, you know what I mean? They would bring a guy up from the Primavera. Instead of giving them a slot, they'd get loaned out to Serie B so they can get more playing time. Well, I think a lot of players get just as much experience by watching the senior players play, by training with the senior players, by training with SerieA players, So maybe that's the issue, like offloading these young kids that come up instead of giving them one, even if it's 1, 2 roster spots. Let's keep these 2 guys here. Let's let them grow with the team, because it can only help you. It can only help you in selling them off later. It can only help you in growing your own squad. It can only help you in growing the Italian national team, which is good for Calcio as a whole. It is, but at the end of the day, De Laurentiis is looking out for SSC Napoli and Phil Mauro and his ventures. So you can't really put it on the, a lot of fans get mixed up in that because they're deeply passionate, as I am, about the Italian national team. But it doesn't work like that. It just doesn't work like that. So we need to figure out how to develop the kids to be able to keep them like a Lamine Yamal, like the Kubarsi, like the kids from Madrid, like the kids that play, Bartesaghi. I don't know how he started. I don't remember if it was an injury. You might know better than me, Adriano, how he got involved with. But I think it depends on the manager too. Allegri, Conte, they keep these kids around because they know that they're quality in case something happens, and it did in this case. Vergara is a good player. I'm very excited to see what he does in the future. I believe we're going to keep him. I believe he's going to be an Insigne-esque player. And, hopefully help Italia do something in the Euro but that's another thing. And maybe we can get to this when we talk about Italia later. You can't just throw these kids into a situation. Like Pio Esposito, for me, him taking the first penalty, biggest mistake ever. Him even coming on, like I don't know, man. I mean, I wouldn't have substituted Moise Ken. I would have somehow found a way for Esposito to play with Ken, maybe give Ken that first penalty, maybe give Tonali that first penalty, not Esposito. He's so green when it comes to the national team. The nerves get set in. He could do anything he wants with Inter because these are guys they train with all the time. He played in the youth. He league wise, he's set because he's familiar. National team wise, you can't give someone their first couple of caps or their first few really important starts towards the end of qualifying campaigns where we have to win. So I feel like the next cycle will involve these kids that are coming up, and hopefully they grow. As they grow with the national team too, and they all get to know each other. That's the thing. You have to have this. It's a camaraderie thing. But also, let's and I was going to talk about the national team. Maybe we'll get into that after. But
I mean,
who's going to lead the national team? That's what we need to first, right?
I feel like that's exactly what we wanted to ask. So many rumors of Conte that ADL would give his blessing. First of all, okay, I want to ask because the quote that I saw, it almost seemed as if ADL was saying oh yeah, I'll bless Conte to go to the national team, but it's almost like I don't know how to explain it. It's okay, you could coach the national team and Napoli. I don't know I know that doesn't make sense, but I know the caretaker coach from a few years ago who coached Slovakia, I forget his name.
Calzona did it.
I know.
There was also a Dutch.
We know it's possible. It's not like it's illegal or anything. Maybe I just misinterpreted the quote. Sure, maybe it seems like Conte would leave Napoli for the national team. So maybe you could clear that up. And what are your thoughts on Conte rejoining the national team potentially to lead the Azzurri?
So, I actually watched him do that interview. I want to say it was with Fox Deportes.
Okay.
That he did the interview with, but they asked him if he would be okay with Conte going to the national team, and he said that he would give his blessing, but that if he wants it, only if he wants it. Like right now he's with Napoli and that's what he wants. If he wants to go, I would let him go because he also feels that Conte would be in good hands going to the national team because of who's rumored to go into as the president of the FIGC.
That's a whole other.
It's a close. Yeah, it's a close friend of ADL who is being heavily rumored, and so he feels comfortable letting him go. This also might mean that listen, the way ADL works, if there's any sort of doubt about the coach for the next season, it's right around now where he's locking in the replacement, and none of us know about it. None of us. In the movie, it confirms what we already kind of knew, but didn't have a confirmation. The movie confirmed that Conte and ADL had a chat midway through the disaster season, and ADL wanted him in midway through. And Conte said to him, I want to come in at the end of the season so we can start again and make something
Fresh.
beautiful
Yeah.
and start fresh instead of coming into a mess. Because if we don't get out of the mess, I'm gonna get blamed. I'm gonna get, it's gonna be my fault. Da da da. He said, let me come in June. So, but the thing is that this has happened before a bunch of times. Sarri had Sarri gone. ADL had Ancelotti ready to go. There were other instances where the Spalletti, where the manager was ready to go by now. So if that's the case, and Conte said, "Hey, listen, there's an opportunity. We need to fix the grassroots of Italian football," which ADL is very passionate about as well.
Saw that.
So we're lucky in that case, in that sense. So I wouldn't be surprised at either if Conte stays or Conte goes to the national team, and ADL is working now on getting a replacement right now as we speak.
Yeah, it wouldn't shock me too. But I think with the whole, and again, you're a fellow Italian, right? So you follow as much as we do. I'm just hoping. Listen, obviously the rumors, even for the president, like forget the coach. Like we need to obviously find the top, and then we can kind of trickle down. And there's been a bunch of rumors for all those positions, right? From the president to the coach. I even saw Allegri getting rumored with Conte for the national team coaching job. They're even saying to bring back Mancini, right? Or Roberto Mancini as another candidate. So I think the president one as well. We've seen the names of Malagò. We've seen. I'm biased. I would love Maldini there, right? But I know I'm biased. But again, we spoke a bit about last week, Rafa. Like maybe we just need to bring back these legends and put they know, like they are, you know, guys of football, guys of culture, right? And if it be Baggio, if it be Maldini, if it be Del Piero, like these types of figures. I wouldn't shy away from going that avenue in my perspective. Um, do you? What is your kind of thought on who maybe you would like to see in terms of candidacy for the FIGC president and then the coach? Obviously, we spoke about Conte. Is that a name that forget that he's obviously your coach at Napoli, but is that a name that you would have liked regardless of that fact? Because when I heard that again, I was a bit on the fence. I'm not sure. He brought us wonders, 10 years ago, right? But again, we're now in 2026. It's a different time. It's a different era. Does his brand of football match where we want to go? Footballing wise, again, there's a lot of questions. Just your thoughts on the names that are fluttering around, who you would like to see, and just your thoughts on all that.
So Malagò is the guy I was referring to as far
Yeah,
as
of
he's
course.
very good. He's very close with De Laurentiis. They have the same ideas, and and with kind of ADL in his ear, I can see a lot of really good things happening. Like if he's an ADL guy gonna run the, like honestly, and this has nothing to do with bias. I mean, I'm a Napoli fan. I'm gonna be a little biased
Of
every now
course,
and then.
yeah, it's only normal.
I wouldn't mind seeing ADL take the presidency of the freaking.
Well, I was gonna say I saw a lot of guys screaming that at the
Well,
event.
at the event, yes, but I was specifically asked not to talk about that with SerieA. Like,
Okay.
like don't talk about that. Okay, I got you.
All right, no problem.
But does that mean it's gonna happen? I don't know. Like, what's gonna happen?
Of course.
But honestly, I wouldn't like. I wouldn't be mad at Maldini or Baggio. Baggio's the one who wrote the 900-page reform in 2010, 2011, whenever it was, and
Yep.
it still holds up. That reform,
That standard, of
document.
course.
It still holds up, man. Like
Yep.
if he comes into the equation here, we might be in good hands. Maldini too. Like getting these guys that went through all that, they know what to go through. They know how to win. They know how to, take care of business. They need to apply it. But it kind of scares me a little bit because we had guys like that in Gattuso, Buffon, Bonucci.
Sure.
De Rossi was in when we won the Euro. Vialli
Mancini,
was there.
for that matter, too, right?
Mancini, Vialli. Like we had that, and it didn't work. Is it because we were too far gone that they couldn't bring us back? Is it because of the top? I 100% think it was the top.
Agreed.
The top
it
had
was
to
Roddy.
he had to go. And step one was he's gone. So there's that. So I think anywhere we go is a step in the right direction. Honestly, because when it comes to the head of the FIGC, manager wise, I mean, Conte did what he did with that team that only lost out to to Germany for the semifinal of the Euro that year. You know, we beat Belgium in their hottest phase there. We beat Spain. We beat big teams in that, you know. We were looking really, really good, and I was very unhappy to see Conte go then.
Yeah.
You know, so for me to say Conte back, is not just Napoli bias. It's look at what he did with guys like Graziano Pellè and who's the other guy? Giaccherini, Eder. Come on. You know,
yeah.
But you know, I think if it's not Conte, it needs to be someone young with young ideas for the young kids.
Okay.
I think it needs to be a youth movement, and if that means, okay, we might crash out of the next year or two, like, you know, not qualify, but, you know, not show up well. If it means by the time 2030 comes around, these guys are a couple years older, they're a little more mature, they're grown with each other. You know, if Infantino wants to raise it to a 64 team World Cup, there's no way we miss that. It's funny how we said, oh, 48 teams, no way we miss the World Cup.
We're in. Yeah, of course. Yeah, look at us now.
Yeah, but right?
Yeah,
I don't know.
much like a V.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think that whatever happens with the Azzurri right now is a positive. No matter what it is, it's going to be a positive because the dirty rat, what's his fucking name? I forgot his name. Gravina. Oh my god, I couldn't stand that guy. And the responses after the game too.
Oh my god.
Were so, like, you got guys like Gattuso, who, by the way, I don't blame Gattuso for anything. I don't know how you feel, Nick, but I don't blame Gattuso for any of this stuff, man. We also had injuries in the national team. We also
he came in not midway, but already in the qualifying
practically because you know, but so did Spalletti. Spalletti, you know, hot take. I wouldn't have gotten rid of Spalletti after the 3-0 loss to Norway. Hot take. I wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, thank God you said hot take, because I don't know how I feel about that, but it's hot take.
I wouldn't have done it. I wouldn't have done it. I would have given him this qualifying.
Okay.
It's only one game. And look, we won every game except for the Norway game later. I think Spalletti improves the team as it goes. You know, I don't think Spalletti should have been let go. It's a hot take for me, but that's my thing. Gattuso was inserted in a is basically caretaker. Basically,
he's the only one that took the job. Nobody wanted the job, Raffa.
Well, he did.
He was the sacrificial lamb. He took it, and you know you have to respect that.
He did it at Napoli too.
Exactly.
When
and at Milan,
he was canned. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, but the teams after Gattuso end up working out well. Like, if you notice the pattern, right? Like Milan after Gattuso ended up doing pretty well.
Took a while, but he came back.
Gattuso ended up doing pretty well. You know, it's the same thing with Conte. Conte comes in, wins 3 Scudetti with Juventus. Boom, Allegri takes over. Bang, they're European giants. To an extent. Same thing with Napoli. Same thing with Napoli.
Conte.
Here he comes in. We're in a pretty rough go. He comes in, he shapes us up, he's going to leave, we're going to be in better hands. Like these are managers, these are types of managers that do that, right? So hopefully Gattuso being there, you know, made it realize, hey, we could have done this. We really could have done this, but we're being handcuffed at the top. Bang. You know, this is what needs to change. Gattuso not taking. I don't know if you guys heard this or not, but he refused to take the
The
severance
money.
pay.
Yeah.
Right. He made sure that his staff got the money. And
He's done that.
Gravina's sitting there like, I don't need to be I don't need to be fired. I don't need to leave.
We're used to this. This is why
that.
I know how this press conference is going to go. Like, you cannot
Right.
say that, right?
I don't need to be fired. That's why we have elections for these things, and elections coming up. I'm like, you know what?
Crazy.
Then you got the prime minister calling for his head. Like,
And
what's her
Minister
name?
of Sport too. Maloney,
yeah.
you're talking about?
Maloney went. They went
Yeah.
to Parliament, and he was like,
Yeah.
she was like, no, he's got to go.
Yeah.
Like, are you kidding?
It's crazy. And just another point on Gattuso there, like he's done it. I forget if he did it at Napoli, but I remember when he was at Milan and you know, again, was dealt the cards he was dealt. It didn't work out. Was very close to Champions League qualification. They finished, I think, fifth, or I think it was
What happened
fifth
in
that
Napoli?
year.
Same thing happened in
And,
Napoli.
and you know, didn't take the money, let the club either keep it or his guys, his staff, get paid. That's just the type of guy he is. And again, I'm biased. You said about bias before. I know I'm biased because he's a Milan legend. I love Gattuso. He's a favorite of mine. But yeah, man, it just listen. It is what it is. It's unfortunate to see a legend of his stature, Buffon stature, that we have to, you know, get rid of these guys for a fresh start. But like you said, Rafa, a fresh start is needed. And you know, if it be the Malagos of the world, if it be the Contes of the world in coaching, or like you mentioned, Baggio or Maldini, like I said, it's going to have to be. And I think, you know, there's no worse than missing 3 World Cups, right? We cannot get worse than this, right? Like, I think we've hit, unfortunately, rock bottom. I don't want there to be anything worse than this, right? I don't think any of us want anything worse to happen. But again, we're hopeful. We said it last week, Rafa. It's not an overnight thing. Kind of like what you alluded to. Let's see how this qualification for the Euro be and how they do there, and then, you know, 2030. But this has to be at least at a very minimum a 4-year cycle with this new coach. The presidency is a different thing, but at least a coach. It's going to have to be a 4-year project at the very minimum. It's not going to be an overnight thing. Me and Nick were even shooting the name of the youth coach now, Baldini, right? To kind of, you know, you want to insert you know, that youth movement,
Different
like you kind of
ideas.
mentioned. Different idea. He's a bit more for change. I think I've seen in his press conferences back when he was in Palermo, back now when he was in Pescara, right? Like he's kind of said these things in the past, and he's taken over the U21s. They're doing what they're doing. He's now the interim coach. We'll see. I think it's another name that I know me and Nick spoke about off air that we kind of said, why not? Like it's a new name.
You know who that's going to piss off? That's going to piss off the fair weather fans who don't know who
Of course.
Baldini is.
That's
going to
fair.
piss
That's fine.
people off. It's going to turn them off. And I hope, like to me, the Gravina thing to do would be to go get the big name.
Sure.
When I think about the future of the national team, I think youth. I think start over. I think Baldini is a good shot. Now I haven't thought of that until you guys just said that.
Yeah.
But 100%, I would go with it, because when you play at the youth, and the thing is, we also have to get the managers at the youth level to play the same system as Baldini does, or as whoever comes
Everybody
in
needs
does.
to be on the same page.
They have to be on the same page. You can't have,
agreed,
you know, a 4-3-3 here and then a 3-5-2 there, and then a press here, and then you know, like lay back here and a defensive there,
counter,
there.
whatever. Yeah.
No, you can't have that. You have to grow as a unit. These guys should be growing together. That's how Spain, Germany, France. That's how these teams, like, they grew up together. And every now and then you're gonna get that young kid that's gonna break in. But, you know, he's got so much experience around him that he can't fail, you know, like, so I'm worried about it. I am worried about it. I'm worried about, you know, going the wrong direction, because it's Italy. It's how it is, you know.
Of course.
I mean,
Italians. What do you expect?
know,
Anything less?
There was no progression from the 2000s, the early 2000s, and as time moved on, Italy as a nazionale, but also as a country in
we stay
Europe,
put.
just haven't. I mean, there is influencers now, and there's phones out there, and this. It's not like it's not like they're desolate. It's not like they're without.
Of course.
But also, I just think that the way the country is run, the way the infrastructure is done, the way there's a lot of things that are so far back thinking that they're not progressing. And unfortunately, the national team is one of it. But guys like De Laurentiis, who is very forward thinking, if it's a Malago, then I'm excited. Not just because he's boys with ADL, but because he thinks like ADL, who has brought Napoli from nothing to what it is now.
To something.
And it didn't take 20 years. It took 20 years to win a Scudetto, but it didn't take 20 years.
Yeah.
They were the talk of the town, 10 years later.
Sure.
So it might take a while, but we have to do it. We have to make sacrifices to move forward. It should have been done 4 years ago. It should have been done 8 years ago, but it's going to happen now.
Some say it should have been done after 1990, right? Italia 90, right? So.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, right? Like but again, that's a whole other conversation. I know we can probably speak on that for hours. You should have been on our 300 episode. I think you would have had a lot to say on that too.
Yeah,
right?
We could probably go 300 hours with you, Raffa.
Just on that topic alone.
300 hours on the 300th episode. No, I don't think I was in the right headspace to come and talk. Like I couldn't even talk to my kids.
Neither were we.
Oh no. We went somewhere to watch it. A really cool bar in Albany called Wolf's Beer Garden.
Awesome.
And they're a huge soccer bar. There's a huge ant that's crawling on me. There's a huge soccer bar, and it's about a 20-minute drive from the house. And everyone in the car is screaming about the game, and I'm like, guys, shut up! I can't even listen to this right now. Like I'm tears coming out of my eyes. I'm like, I can't hear this, guys. Please don't talk.
Yeah. It's been a rough little bit, and I don't think it'll go away probably for a little while longer, if I'm honest with you, Rafa. But again, just to wrap up in closing here, again, you now officially made your 7th cap on the Culture Guys podcast, Rafa. So again, we're super grateful for that. I know Johnny's not here tonight, but I know he extends those same regards and compliments towards you, Rafa. You've always been gracious with your time for us. We don't take that for granted. You've supported us. We've supported you on the flip side along the way. We've been in contact for forever now, it seems like. The next thing is to physically meet in person. I think that's like the next goal out of it. So we have to make that happen one way or another down the line here. But again, just thank you. I know you're at the shop. I know you said you didn't work today, but you're at the shop, hooking it up for us. So again, wherever you've been, you've done it. I still remember, going back, like the Maradona episode after he had Pat, like that episode will always kind of be in the back of my mind. Like it's just one of those ones. I know it was a sad one, but again, at the same time, it's a memorable one for us. Listen, bro, you've been on the ride with us forever, it seems like. So again, we appreciate your time again tonight. And I know you said you took a bit of a hiatus before we wrap our normal shtick that we do. I know you said you took a bit of a hiatus on the content, but you're still finding a way to do something and to be relevant on social media. So anything you want to plug, my friend, the floor is yours.
Yeah. So the Napoli Rant, obviously, it still exists. It's not dead. Check it out. You can look it up on IG, on X, on Facebook, Napoli Rant. Also, I want to shout out the Tri-State Napoli Club as well, because I'm still kind of a member of that. We haven't done much there either. Just a lot going on. But I do want to try to plug Calcio Napoli Club USA, because that's something where we're trying to bridge connection to all these clubs that are forming in the US. Now, it started out as a Facebook group, just a group where we can chat with other people from the US and Canada, to North America, right? It says USA, but really it's a North America thing.
Sure.
It started out as a Facebook group in 2016, 17, 18, maybe even. And we're moving it to, well, we have been, for a while, moving it to like this one-stop shop for clubs in the US, in Canada, where we can big ups club meets here and club meets there, and events that clubs are doing for charity or whatever it is.
Yeah.
So check that out too. Calcio Napoli Club USA. It's on Twitter. I believe it's CNC USA 26. Give it a follow. My man Quentin's working really hard on that, and Biz as well. Yeah, man, and just keep checking my page, Raffa Rispo. Anywhere you can find it on Facebook, I'm Raffaele Rispo, my full name. Raffa Napoli 83 on X. But yeah, I would keep my eyes glued on the IG, because we've got something a little special planned there too. So
perfect,
awesome.
man.
It's awesome.
Thank you again. Once again, we appreciate it. You've been on for a total of 2% of all episodes, so it doesn't seem a lot, but
Fuck, man.
It's a lot.
It.
All things considered. But yeah, thanks again. Yeah, Idri, where can people find us on social media?
Yeah, we like to wrap it up always the same way, guys. You guys know that. But again, before I say that, just again, everything that Rafa plugged there, just again, go follow, go support. I sound like a broken record every time I say this, but the content, the idea, the whatever the page does, could do whatever it needs to do, but the people behind it is what really makes it go. And I'm a big believer in that, and I think we all are. So not only is it good content or good whatever they're providing, it's better people behind it. So again, go follow, go support, guys. It doesn't take much to do. And that's the same thing on our end, guys. Like we say every week, follow us at the Culture Guys on all social media platforms. For the audio version of the podcast, anywhere you find a podcast, you can find the Culture Guys. So rate with 5 stars, leave a comment there. And for all video content of the pod, subscribe on YouTube, post notifications, turn them on, like, subscribe, share, comment, all that good stuff, guys. And yeah, this was episode 301. We'll be back next week for 302. And we'll be back next week to talk about more Calcio. Yeah, exactly.
Thanks for listening.
Ciao.
Bye.